Telepathy.
Telepathy.
Your favorite podcast on the internet.
With Enzo and Anna Catherine. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2, which is actually episode 95.
95. Wait, 100 is coming
Telepathy.
soon. That's going to be a big moment.
That's like in a month. Like we need to start planning something special for that.
We're doing a meet and greet, guys. I'm just kidding. That would be really depressing. But, well, speaking of our worldwide fame, thank you so much for all of your feedback on the season 3 cover.
Season 3.
Yeah, and just season 3 in general. Obviously, like not a ton has changed except for new cover and new branding and stuff like that. And also, like, I've been incorporating some graphics in the video episodes because why not? Which, just a reminder that video episodes available on YouTube and Spotify. So if you want to see our faces while we talk, that's always an option that's there for you, which is so fun. But I'm excited.
Wait, my computer just made the weirdest noise, and I was like, what the heck is that? Like, it freaked me out. And then I realized it's because my Webkinz app is still open, and I was playing Webkinz the other day, and it was like my animal, like making a noise, like it was hungry or something.
Literally.
So I'm gonna turn down my computer real quick.
Love that. Speaking of Webkinz and just childhood things, that's a good segue into our episode topic for today. So the episode title for now, it might change, if it might be different, but what do you want to be when you grow up? This question that I feel like a lot of us heard when we were younger, and I feel like our answers have changed and just evolved. And we're just going to be talking about how, like, basically, like, your passions and stuff as a child, how that evolves growing up and how making that into, like, an actual career, and then sometimes the scary realities of the world, etc. So I'm really excited. I have lots of notes and things to talk about today, so don't go nowhere.
Yes, it's gonna be good. But before we get into that, we will of course do our icebreakers, which will begin with the camp question. Do you have a camp question for us today, Enzo?
I do. We're around the campfire and we need to break the ice. So your name, age, and then describe your dream house to me. Less about the location and more of like, what's the architecture? What does this house have?
Ooh, okay. This, I don't know if I have like a definitive answer for it. Well, okay, but first, my name's Anna. I'm 22. I kind of see myself living in like a craftsman style house with a lot of like light wood. And it's very like homey and like eclectic. Like, I don't want it to really have one aesthetic. I want it to be like things I've collected throughout my life and like cool like pottery. Like I want it to be like an art museum. That's my like realistic dream house. My non-realistic dream house would be like a French villa in like the countryside of France, or an English cottage in the English countryside.
That's so great.
One of those, like, yeah. Or an Irish cottage. But really, like an English cottage in like the Cotswolds region of England, that would be really, really awesome. But yeah, realistically, like a craftsman style house in like a tree neighborhood.
But unrealistically, a merge of all your Pinterest boards from European style houses.
True, yes.
Okay.
Also, wait, while I have the mic, I want to say, guys, guess what? I got new AirPods.
Yes.
If you listened to the last episode, it was like really, really getting bad. Like my AirPods.
They've been crashing out.
They've been crashing out, but last week was the point where it was like, okay, this can't go on much longer, because they would run out after like 20 minutes, and then I'd have to like rotate between like one being in the charger and one being in my ear, and then the right one the speaker didn't even work anymore. It was just a mess. So my mom listened to our episode last week, and then after she listened to the episode, she came over to me and she was like, Anna, I want you to have my AirPods, because she just got new AirPods like recently, but she doesn't use them very often. So she just traded me, like she gave me her good ones that she never really uses, and then I gave her my not so good ones that she would have to rarely use. So yeah.
Telepathy shout out to Anna's mom for this generous gift. Making season 3 even more impactful for the masses. I'm taking the talking stick now while I have the mic, and I'm just kidding.
Oh, this would have been a good telepathy style one.
Oh, wait, that's actually so true. I feel like I could have guessed yours.
Although I don't even know if I would have been able to guess
I
yours.
don't even know if
So
I can
I'm
guess mine, but we're about to find
okay.
out. So, hello, I'm Enzo. I'm 18, and I'd say that my dream house, definitely like modern style, like what the current state of architecture is looking like, whatever that is. Definitely like lighter woods, like kind of neutral colors, a lot of like black, white, kind of beige, brown. I think are all super cool. Even like some light brick. Sometimes I'm like, ooh. But I definitely want to decorate my house with fun art, like kind of like weird art almost. That's the kind of thing where you walk in, you're
Hmm.
like, what is that? And it's like, oh, I got this on the south of France. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But just
Or
like
from maybe you could get the type of art that like you would pick up from an NC State professor for
that's
Kirk after like a
very
sustainability
niche.
stewards meeting.
Literally me going into some random basement to pick up some art while Kirk is in Africa. That's a Lana Del Rey song title, and that's all the context you
Yes.
get. But yeah, just something with that. And then I definitely want a pool, like kind of maybe unrealistically, I don't know. But also like shoot for the stars, like follow your dreams, which is kind of like the whole point of this episode. So that is my dream
I think I
house.
want a hot tub. Like I would love a pool, but I think I'd rather just have a pool membership because it seems like so much work to like I feel like I wouldn't use it enough to I feel like it's the type of thing where if you have it, you don't use it enough and then I would have to like call the pool guy every week and be like, "Can you clean the green stuff out of this pool?" But I
I
think I
really could
could
see myself using a
manage
pool
a hot
though.
tub.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also because I want to have my own pool when I'm older and I want to buy like a silicone mermaid tail. And
I knew
like
you were going to say
I've
that.
talked about these visions, but yeah, I mean also if you have a French fella, they're like you need a pool. Unfortunately,
Yeah, that's true.
you just
That is true.
you can't complete the aesthetic without that. Anyways, into music and TV shout outs. Do you have yours ready?
Yes, my music shout out is actually a song by my friend's band, my friend from LA last year. Um, it's called I'm a Dam, and it's like really, really good. Like their two most recent songs are like super good, like legit songs.
Legit
Oh,
songs.
oh wait, I didn't even say the name of the band. The band is Chalk Talk.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and so you would really like this song.
I shall listen. Wait, where if I want to listen to it though, where would I
Oh,
like go to
okay,
look
that's
for
so
that? You know
true.
what I mean?
So we have a playlist called the Telepathy playlist, and it's where we put all of our music on Spotify, all of our shout outs. And we have on our Instagram at the Telepathy Pod a highlight that you can click on, and it has a link directly to our playlist. And I just updated, like, I just reposted the link last week, so it should be like right up there when you go to our account. So highly recommend if you want to listen to that. What's your music shout out?
Okay, so Lord's new album Virgin is out and it's so
Yes,
good. And
it's so good.
I have to shout out Hammer because it's the intro track and she actually released it a week before the album. But when I saw that it was track one, I was like, I'm going to hold off on listening to this because there's just something about a track one of the album that really just sets the tone. And it's such like when you're listening at midnight on a Friday morning or Friday night or like Thursday night, you know what I mean? At midnight when it's finally Friday, like there's just something so awesome about that. And so I definitely was feeling the vibes, the version vibes as soon as I was listening to Hammer. And the lyric, when you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Like I've just been thinking about that so much this week because I'm like interpreting that in so many different ways. And I'm kind of like, huh, like I
Yeah,
love a lyric that'll do that
same.
to you. The second shout out, I only have two. It's okay. I almost had three, but I stopped myself. So Lizzo's new mixtape came out and it's definitely more of like a rap direction and she sounds so good. I think this is really fun. But this new Mistake song, she teased it on TikTok like a month or two ago and I remember hearing it and because the whole caption she was like songs my label won't let me release and I remember hearing this and being like I want this like the beat like it's really good and then the production kind of switches up halfway through like a little bit of like a Big Difference Nicki Minaj type of vibe and so I was like okay I'm a fan adding it to the playlist. It's in the June playlist and now it's in the Telepathy playlist. So long story short, yes. Have you watched anything this
Nice.
week?
Actually, I watched so I'm trying to finish the Twilight series before it leaves Netflix, like tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
And I'd watched most of them like a few months ago because they played the first Twilight at my school, and then I was like watching the rest with my friends. But last night I watched Breaking Dawn Part 1. Have you
I've
seen?
seen the Twilight movies. It's just been quite a while. At
Okay.
least like the first one I watch usually like every fall, but then like I don't watch the whole series, which I would love to get into, honestly.
Okay. So I'm going to watch Breaking Dawn Part 2 tonight. But Breaking Dawn Part 1, it was really good. It was really also really bad. But that's just what Twilight is.
That's the beauty
And
of it.
yeah, and it was definitely, I think, my second favorite in the series compared, like, the first one would be the original Twilight, and then, you know, whatever the first one is called. And then Breaking Dawn Part 1 is now my second favorite. It was so weird, though. I kind of was like I was worried I was going to have like nightmares or something because it was like a little bit disturbing, honestly.
Oh my gosh. Well, literally completely opposite. But for me, I started watching Love Island finally this week.
Oh, yeah.
I love reality TV like this. And I've been hearing everybody talk about it. So I was like getting FOMO, and I don't have Peacock. So a bitch found her way to watch it, let's just say. But I've been watching it and it's really good. um, if you don't have Peacock, there are ways. You didn't hear it from me, but go out in the world and watch Love Island because it's really entertaining. So I enjoyed that a lot. And then any other week recaps? Anything exciting this week other than new apartment?
Not really. I went home for like a few days and I got to see Enzo and Carolina and we went to the pool
Yes.
and such. And now I'm practicing my New Zealand accent. Um,
For Lord Summer. Oh, that was not good.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, but yeah, but I this today. Okay, I'm just gonna stop.
And
I feel like
scene.
I feel like I could get that with practice compared to other accents.
Right.
Today I went to a coffee shop, like one of the first. It was like my first, like, kind of true day off without work since I was traveling last weekend, and so I went to a coffee shop, and it was in a really cool area. So I did a bit of exploring, and like I got my coffee and like empanada, like breakfast empanadas, and I like sat down and read a book, and it felt very like Emma Chamberlain, like yeah, it felt very Emma Chamberlain.
Oh, that's when you know life is doing well. Like it's like, oh, feels
Yeah,
like Emma
yeah,
Chamberlain. That's when you know. Honestly, I have no new week recaps other than just still focusing on YouTube and social media stuff. So go watch my new YouTube videos at Enzo Antonio on YouTube. Also follow me on TikTok, same thing, because why
yeah.
not?
I
Like
like that
I'll
you've been doing 10-minute videos. I feel like I need to get more into that because I think that's so much more manageable. Because, like, the thought right now that I have to edit like a 20 to 25-minute video is kind of overwhelming.
I know like for me, sometimes it's harder though because I record a lot. Like I have at least like an hour of footage, I feel like usually for a video.
Mm,
But I just like love to trim it down because I feel like there's definitely a place for YouTube for longer videos, but I just don't think that my channel is that. I mean, I do enjoy like a 20-minute video occasionally, but I feel like more than that for me, I don't like, I do like to keep it a little bit more concise. Unless it's like a week in my life, I guess it's better for it to kind of be shorter. But I've been trying to, even like my recent video, I kind of didn't really do like a full on intro because I was like, is this even the vibe anymore? Like, should I just get
right.
into it? You know, because it's
I
like
kind
there's a
of
title and
liked that.
thumbnail.
One of the YouTubers I watch a lot recently, he's not a vlogger at all. He's like a philosophy YouTuber, but he's recently been doing like he literally just starts talking. Like right when the video starts, he's like blah blah blah. There's no intro. And so I noticed that you did that in the last video and I was like, I like this. Like cuz the intro can get so long cuz you feel like you have to explain everything and then this is turning into like a YouTube strategy podcast, but like people are more likely to click off if you're just like, today I'm gonna blah 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 blah, and this is the backstory, and then like it takes like 2 minutes to get into it. So I need to like, yeah,
Because I feel more awkward sometimes doing intros too, because I'm just like,
yeah,
hey guys. And then I'm like, wait, ooh, restart.
exactly.
But
It
yeah,
takes me like, yeah.
okay, should
Okay,
we
so
get
should
into
we
the
get into
episode?
the? Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I had I don't know where we wanted to start, but I had like a few notes as a good starting point, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, you
So
can go ahead.
I read this article from theforgemedium.com by Mike Stern. Shout out, Mike.
Ooh.
And it was kind of talking about the question and just of what do you want to be when you grow up and how this affects kids and if it's like a positive or negative thing.
Mm.
And one thing that I thought was really interesting in this article was that so he kind of mentioned that adults often ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, almost in a way to live vicariously through them because it's refreshing to hear somebody talk about pursuing something because it's merely a passion, like it has nothing to do with education or job availability or like how much money's in a particular industry or like the raw talent needed for something because kids normally just focus on what they enjoy and what they want that to turn into.
Mm.
And so I think that's why sometimes it's almost like refreshing for adults to hear somebody just be like, oh, I want to do this. And it's like, oh, somebody's so young. So you don't want to be like, oh, do you have what it takes? Because I feel like later on in life is when it starts getting to the hard questions or you get that kind of harsh feedback that's really just it's crushing sometimes. So I feel like that was an interesting place to start. I don't know if you have any thoughts on
Yeah.
that.
No, that's really interesting. I never really thought of it that way. Like I enjoy asking kids what they want to be when they grow up because I think it's fun to see, I don't really know why. I think it's fun to see like what they're currently so passionate about that they would yeah, be turned into a job. Or like for a real example, like my little cousin Everett who's like 7, like I think I asked him like what do you want to be when you grow up? Kind of wondering if he would be more of like on the math side of things, which because
Mm,
he's really good at math, or like on the music side of things because like the rest of my cousins in his family are more like artistic. So I'm like really excited to see what he ends up doing in the future because my grandpa is very much a math person but and so is my uncle. Like they're very mathy, but then both of my older cousins are very artistic. So I'm excited to see whatever it gets. But so what did you when you were a kid? What did you say that you wanted to be when you grew up?
my answer changed a lot. I feel like at one point I definitely said that I wanted to be like, I work at a toy store, which I guess that's just any sort of kid being like, oh, I'm interested in toys. So I want to work with toys.
That's
Grew
funny.
out of that though. But my answer for a long time, like this was more of, I guess, like the unrealistic answer. And I feel like I'd always thought that I wanted to be like a pop star, like a singer or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, just because I feel like I grew up watching so many music videos and just like listening to all of these artists and pop. Of course, 2010s pop music is just 2010s pop music. So I think that was
Mm-hmm.
something that I just really like loved. And I think seeing like Katy Perry's tour was definitely something where I was like, wow, like I kind of, I feel like that's honestly when I fell in love with like show business.
Yeah. I think when I was a kid, my what I wanted to be had nothing to do with now. But here's the thing, it's like I always would say that. So I'll say what I would
Hmm.
either say I wanted to be a vet because I loved animals and I loved like my stuffed animals. Or I would say I wanted to be like a detective or like in the FBI or like a police or a spy
Okay.
in that genre. And I think it's because I really enjoyed for the vet side of things, like playing with my stuffed animals and playing Webkins and all that. And then on the detective side of things, a lot of things I did as a kid were related to that. Like I would play, I think I got an FBI kit once as a kid, like with a flashlight and like a vest. And so I'd play FBI a lot. And then I had a lot of books and activities that were like detective related. But I think with both of those, both the detective and the vet, I kind of later in life found out what all that entails and realized that it wasn't what I thought it was. You know,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
for the vet, like it's fun to like play vet and like you put up the stethoscope to your stuffed cat or whatever. But like there's way that's not what being a vet is at all. Like you have to deal with like sickness and death and like stick your hand up a cow's butt or whatever. And
Love that
then
example.
and then with like the police thing, I once the police came to visit our school to talk about the job, and when I learned that you have to get pepper sprayed in police training, that's when I was like, okay, I'm not
No,
gonna do
moving
this
on from this
anymore.
one.
Yeah. But it's funny because throughout all of this, I always was artistic, and I knew I never wanted to be like a painter or like a literal artist because I just didn't want to do that for some reason. But then looking back, like there's so many graphic design related things and video related things that I did growing up. Like one of my earliest memories of like graphic design type thing I would do was I got this like thing for Christmas, and I recently looked it up because I actually did for Scad District, the newspaper, one of the writers has a column about like creative awakenings. So like it's about like how people realized that they were going to go into their creative field. And so I did an interview with her. So I had kind of like prepared for this beforehand. But it was like a Fisher Price like drawing tablet basically. And it connects into your computer, and then it pulls up this program, and you can like make all these things. But it was digital art. Like that's when I knew that I really liked digital art because I liked to paint and draw, but like I wasn't like obsessed with it, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this digital art thing I was like obsessed with, and I would start making like invitations and put together like birthday parties for my stuffed animals. So I would like make digital invitations and then print them out, and then make like party hats and print them out and construct them. And like that's literally what you do in graphic design
Mm-hmm.
school. So
Yes.
that was like my earliest memory, but I have so many other things throughout the years too. But what about
Yes.
you?
Yeah, so for me, I think that when I started watching YouTube, and definitely Seven Supergirls, like just that style of video making, and I also made a lot of stop motion videos with my American Girl dolls. That's when
I
I
made so
knew,
many stop motion videos too.
uh-huh.
That's so fun.
Yes, that's when I kind of like knew I was like, I don't know, I like making things with the camera. Like, I don't know, like video making is fun. And I think that like my passion for that, along with music, kind of just like always went hand in hand and was something that I like focused on. And so honestly, to this day, like I don't have a particular end point in mind of like which job that I want to do, but there's just like different projects that I want to accomplish at some point in life. So I think that that's something that's important to me. But like one of the things, kind of tying back to asking kids about this, and like the article was saying it can sometimes be negative because it views your job or like your career as the end goal or like the end point, you know? Like kind of like you get up
Mm,
to working somewhere and like that's it for you. Like now you're stuck kind of in a cycle, which I feel like can be limiting, especially for kids who, you know, have shifting passions, which is very normal to not know what you want to do yet and not have to like
shifting
pinpoint
passions?
something. Wait, what?
Shifting passions?
Oh, yeah, shifting. That passion certainly shifted. But like I feel like it's just normal for kids to like have different dreams and goals and like that kind of evolves in different ways. And I feel like that's one thing is like you're kind of, especially with like in the US with college and stuff like that, I think you really kind of, you don't have to figure out what you want to do at a very, very young age, but it really feels like that sometimes, especially with
Yeah.
picking a major. And then it's like, oh, if you want to change it, it's like, okay, now you have to kind of restart your whole
Yeah.
curriculum pathway. But
I
yeah.
definitely, in high school, I still was pretty certain that I was going to end up going into like a film major because in high school I was part of like Digital Media Academy, which was basically learning the Adobe products. So I went into it knowing that I liked doing film because I'd had a YouTube channel, or no, I didn't have a YouTube channel at this point, but I like would make fake YouTube videos, and I really wanted to have a YouTube channel. So,
Mm-hmm.
but then somehow eventually, well, then like in freshman year, that's why when I learned what graphic design was, and I was like, wait, graphic design is cool, and like I had no idea this was a thing. Like I don't know why I didn't know what graphic design was at that point, but like what? Like why didn't I? But I don't know. And then eventually, like later on, I think junior year, I was still like, I'm either going to major in film or graphic design. And then eventually it just like turned into being graphic design, and I like didn't question it. But I like that you're still open to like just the overarching like creativity. You want to be in like a creative field, because I'm still trying to like be open to that, because like I want to view myself more as a creator than a graphic designer. And I sort of like I like calling myself a graphic designer because it's like very specialized, and like I have knowledge that other people don't have about certain things like typography or whatever. But at the same time, like I think in my life I'm still gonna want to do some other creative things, like maybe be involved in a movie, or like I was just looking at my board games over in my apartment, and I was like, I'd love to make a board game or
Oh, yes,
something.
Theophany.
Or yes. Or I really want to like write a novel one day, honestly. And I really wanted to get more into writing over the past few. I honestly always have wanted to keep getting more into writing since we did like NaNoWriMo in middle school.
NaNoWriMo was so
Every year.
fun.
Yeah, I swear every year since then I've been like, one day I'm gonna like find the time to get more into writing. And I
Which
keep
is
saying that, but
National Novel Writing Month in November, by the way. I feel like NaNoWriMo could be
yes.
pretty niche.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do NaNoWriMo this year.
Honestly.
Yeah. I just want to like become more of a writer. And I like when a creative person can have like lots of different. I feel like a true artist or creator has lots of different outlets. Like when you learn about art history, like so many of them, so many of the famous artists weren't just one type of artist. Like yeah, like Leonardo da Vinci was also like he was a sculptor, he was a painter, and he was an industrial designer and like a writer. So it's like I feel like once you're in the creative world, that's like you can't you shouldn't always narrow yourself down. You should always be open to like every type of creativity.
Right. And I feel like the idea of what do you want to be when you're older, it's kind of thinking that, oh, it's this one place, it's this endpoint, like that's where you end, this is where you start, and that's it, But I think like you can't limit yourself like that. And this is where La La Land comes into it, because one
Okay.
of the things that La La Land that like really sticks with me is when Sebastian says people love what other people are passionate about. And I think that that's something, well, I mean, that can be like why parents are asking kids, like, what do you want to be? Because they like to see what somebody's passionate about, how they hope to tie that into, like a full-on career. But I think the hard part is there's kind of a standard in almost every industry. So then it's like at some point you almost have to like face realities, or it's like a lot of people think you have to face reality because I mean, even in little things like growing up in gymnastics, I was told like I was too tall for it. So I didn't have like the build to be like the best gymnast. Um, and it's like, I think that there's so many like good opportunities though for everybody like within your passions. But the hard thing is sometimes it can be a privilege to even be able to explore those opportunities because, some of them you can't just sit around and like wait for the opportunity of a lifetime to come, because you have to support yourself financially. So maybe you're in a career in a field that maybe you're not as passionate about, but it's hard to kind of get out of there without taking like a huge financial leap or just a huge risk.
Right.
And so one thing is like Mia from La La Land, like she couldn't just wait around for the perfect role. She would continue to go to these auditions and play different characters that, she didn't feel passionate about every single one of them. They have that little kind of snippet, like it's a little montage thing where they show the different
Yeah.
things and she's
When she's
playing
the
like a
like firefighter.
firefighter.
Yeah. When
Exactly.
she's like, no, 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 no.
Right.
And then,
She's
yeah.
just kind of like really changing herself for these roles. And I mean, that's literally the job of an actor. But, like she wasn't just waiting for the perfect role. Like she had to work as a barista and do all of this stuff too.
Yeah.
And I think that she literally faced consequences for not following that path because, she took the risk of, following her own creative endeavors which was writing a play, or like she wrote a one-woman show. And so she ended up losing money with that because, she wasn't
It
backed up by a
flopped.
huge agency, or you know what I mean? It was just her. And so she had to do that. Whereas it's interesting because Sebastian is kind of juxtaposes that. This is turning into like a whole film analysis, but it's the opposite where she's following her own creative stuff and then she's facing like financial consequences with it, or people aren't coming to the shows and stuff like that. Whereas Sebastian, he's kind of giving up on his own creative endeavors of starting a jazz club and playing like OG jazz music. And he's kind of been warped into this modern jazz band, but yet that's what's making him money and that's what's finally giving him stability,
Yeah.
this is where it all just ties into La La Land.
I know. I think about that a lot. Like that's almost the most like crushing part of the movie for me is when they get into the fight in the kitchen like at dinner and he's like I'm going to be on tour and then we're going to write another album and then we'll tour that album and then we'll just keep doing that
Like
and
it's a
then
cycle.
yeah, and then Mia's like and how long are you going to be doing this? Like this isn't your passion, so like how long are you going to do this? And then it's like, yeah, like do you ever truly get your like do some people only what am I trying to say? I feel like unfortunately, I mean in the movie it kind of works out cuz they both get their dream jobs, but like I feel like with some people like it's not like that's just it. Like I feel like but okay, this is what I'm trying to say. I feel like you're not guaranteed that you're ever going to get your dream job,
Yeah.
which is like weird to think about, but like I think if you work hard enough, you can make it work, but like at the same time like I don't know. There's only so much time and yeah.
I think that's what makes La La Land so gut-wrenching is it's so realistic. Like
Yeah.
this could truly happen. Like this happens every day where people, go off the path or take risks and it fails, or they end up in a position where they're not super happy. That's another thing is how Sebastian views giving up on his dream to make his own jazz club and stick to this original jazz style that he likes. He sees giving up on that as growing up because he's like, I grew up. And that's when Mia, towards the end, is kind of like, I have to grow up too. Maybe I'll go back to school, find something else that I'm interested in because what she was interested in wasn't working. And it's like with working and stuff like that, you can't just be like, okay, my dreams aren't working out, so I'm just going to lounge by the pool every day instead. Like, not everybody can just do that. She had to find something else to do to create a stable life for herself. And so it can be hard because we're told that we need to be passionate about work. And we're told that working is what gives us purpose. But then also you kind of have to live with this reality now of, oh, well, you might not be able to get your dream job or land in your dream career because that's only for those who make it big or like get lucky. And I think that's like kind of a
Yeah.
weird thing now too, is how a lot of parents are judging kids for saying like, when I grow up, I want to be an influencer. Like that's their dream job or something. But it's like, maybe it's because, and I mean, not saying that like being an influencer is like not a hard job or something. Like obviously there's so much that goes into it, but I think that from an outsider perspective, like a kid could just see an influencer as they're passionate about making videos. So they just sit in front of the camera and do that. And like, it's, they're able to make money from that and then do other things that they're passionate about, like travel or something like that. So I think that's why a lot
Yeah.
of kids kind of dream about being famous because they almost view fame as like freedom. Because it's like you have this financial
Yeah.
freedom to do whatever you want. And, you have celebrities just kind of randomly making skincare brands because they have the money to just hire a whole team to do this. So I think a lot of people look up to that and see it as like famous freedom. I thought it was kind of a weird random
Yeah.
twist, but do you know what I mean?
No, that I totally understand that. And also I was just thinking like when we were talking about like the fact that you're not guaranteed to like ever get your dream job, I think it's also suddenly now I'm thinking like also the like work isn't your whole life. And like I think at the end of the day like if you I don't think it's good to ever have a job that you hate, but like if you have a job that you like tolerate, but you have such a good like outside of work life, I think that's what's more important. Like, I think obviously it's more important to like spend time with friends and family and like do fun things. So like it's interesting to think about right now because like I just started my first job, my first real job like 2 weeks ago. And before starting it, I was like, how long am I really gonna want to do this? Like, it's the it's the exact type of thing I want to do for the most part, but it's for an industry and brand that seems kind of boring. The current one that I'm in seems kind of boring. But the company owns lots of brands that I can move around to in the long run. But like, but honestly, like I am loving it so far. Like I feel like I already love my job, and it's not the type of like creativity that would come out of like studio work, but still really enjoying it. I mean, I'm only 2 weeks in, but like I am really excited because I feel like I landed on something that will be good, that I'll enjoy for a while. And I'm not like, also the day has kind of been like flying by, or like it's just been like enjoyable, whereas some of the past internships I've had, like my internship last summer, I remember I would just sit the whole day and look at the clock, and the hours would feel like they were never ending. And that was even when I was like, I had nothing to do, so I was getting out of work early, yet the hours would still feel long. So like, yeah, I think I'm in like a good spot right now. And still, if I picture, like, I love it right now, but if I picture staying at this company for my entire work life, one, I don't think really anybody ever does that. Like, obviously, I think I'll move on somewhere eventually. But like, I do want to try different things. Like, I do want to work at a studio. I do want to work at like somewhere that has lots of like clients, or like more creative, like artistic styles. So there's still a lot for me to like do, but I think I'm like happy where I am right now.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I have no idea where I even stand in terms of that because I don't know what job I'm doing outside of college and stuff like that. But I think a lot about this because being in a creative field, you definitely think a lot more about this because art is something that is such a big hobby for people, but it's such a time consuming thing. So it's not like you can just find some other job and then just do art on the side. Like normally it's really something you have to commit to. And when I say art, I mean everything. Like, it's hard for Mia from La La Land to just randomly go to auditions in her free time. Like she really has to commit to that and make that a dream of hers and something that she wants to follow through
Yeah.
with. But I think it can just be hard in like such competitive industries too, especially like who like acting, like they just really cut you down and try to make you think that, it's not for you when there's so many different opportunities. And just because one might not be for you doesn't mean that that's it for a certain thing. So I'm glad that I literally made like rooting for a fictional character as always, but like I'm glad she followed through with that and ended up finding her place, even though it
Yeah.
wasn't with Sebastian, which is really sad. But oh, that movie, it's so gut wrenching because it's realistic. And that is my final statement with La La Land.
The other day I asked ChatGPT like, why do I only like movies and books that are like tragedies?
That's so funny.
Because like usually if a book has like a happy ending, unless it's really well written, like for example Where the Crawdads Sing, that has a happy ending, and that because it's really well written. But lots of other books or movies that just like have a super easy happy ending, I'm just like, what's the point? Like I want to like feel something. I want to like ponder and be like, what even is life?
Oh, there's some
Um,
movies that like A Star is Born. It's so good. The music is so good. Lady Gaga is brilliant. Bradley Cooper did great, but there's something that happens in that movie and it just literally shatters me every time to the point where I can't even finish the movie and I end up being like have this pit in my stomach for the next week.
I need to watch that again. I've only seen it once and I don't remember like anything.
You don't remember having like a physical reaction to it where like, you literally wanted to vomit for like the next whole entire week. Literally me every
I
time
need
I
to
see
watch it
it.
again. Dang.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I think, well, oh, I was going to say for you, I think like, I don't even think you should think about what you're going to do outside of college yet. Like, don't even like start thinking about it because I feel like there's so much that'll happen during college that'll like shift your path
Oh,
basically.
for sure.
Like when I got into college, I had barely just decided in the past year that I wanted to do graphic design over film. And like I didn't really even know what the opportunities were in graphic design yet. Like I didn't even know like what you could do or where you could work as a graphic designer. Like I think at that point I was like I'll just work at like Apple or somewhere cool like that. And then now I'm like I would never want to work for Apple probably because it's like in-house. Like I don't really want to do in-house unless it's like where I'm working right now with lots of brands. But I feel like so much is going to happen in your college timeline that's going to like shift your path that will eventually lead you to like what you're going to end up doing.
Oh, for
So
sure.
don't
And
even,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I see myself working on so many different projects in so many different roles, whether that's on the stage, behind the stage, or on set, and stuff like that too. So like, I don't even feel like limiting myself. Like, I'm just gonna get a film degree because I am passionate about film, but I also think it can hopefully be versatile. Like with screenwriting and stuff, like that can translate also to the stage. Of course, it's like a different style of writing,
yeah.
but it's a good foundation to have, and that's just something I
And
can
I think
use to
if
like keep
you're,
going.
and that's honestly such a cool opportunity because if you're really good at screenwriting, I think the best type of screenwriter would be able to shift from film to stage and you'd have that skill set to be able to write stories for film or stage. Maybe you could even like you could be the type of person that like adapts things for
Yeah,
the stage, which would be so cool because I know that you obviously have done so many things like that.
yeah,
So like I think it's good to have the knowledge of both film and stage and then you'll see where that goes.
yeah. That just makes me think literally because, like with Scooby Doo, playing Scooby, like I knew that obviously in an animated show it works when Scooby's just like, "Brr," like that, like, row, and like all the sounds and stuff like that. But when I was like writing the show, I kind of was like, okay, we need this same energy and this same personality, but we need to develop Scooby as a character more, because like how it works on stage, you know what I mean? Because if I think if you do that on
Yeah.
stage for the whole time, it's kind of just like, funny. But like by the
Well,
end
he
of
would
it,
just
you're
be
kind of just
standing
like,
there.
right. By the end of
Yeah.
it, you're kind of over it. So I think just like building on that personality was really fun. Um,
That's so cool.
so yes, I don't know. I just like I don't feel like picking a job and sticking with it. And I feel like I don't have to. So I'm like,
Yeah.
screw you guys.
I felt that I feel like halfway through college I had like a existential moment where I was like, am I forcing myself to do graphic design and I'm going to do that forever and then I'm never going to do anything else? Because like I love graphic design. Graphic design is my passion.
Per.
But like and I love like being a nerd about like graphic design things. And I would never want to like give up my knowledge of graphic design, but sometimes I'm like I hate this and I want to do something else. But I think that's normal with everything.
Yeah.
Like right now I feel I have a very good healthy relationship with graphic design. Like maybe 2 years ago I was like what if I don't want to do this after college? But then I think I like fell back in love with it as I got into my like senior year and into junior year because actually honestly I really do think it was my study abroad time having a break.
Oh
It
my
was literally just
gosh.
the fact that I had like that quarter of a break where I wasn't taking graphic design classes where I just like didn't have to think about it.
No, sometimes you really just have to step away from something to like fall in love with it again, which is such a crazy concept, but that's just how it works sometimes.
It's weird though that I've already been doing graphic design. So like when I was filling out like job applications, they would ask you like on some of the LinkedIn Easy Apply applications, they would ask you like how many years of experience do you have with Photoshop? And I would like think back and I'd be like, okay, well I started it in freshman year of high school, so that means I have 8 years of experience now on a Creative Cloud, which is so weird that I've already spent 8 years of my life doing this type of thing.
I know.
I feel like to like close things off, I want to talk like a little bit more about like things that we did in the past that like led to our current
Okay.
path. Like, did you have any more like we haven't really talked about like our film series.
Oh, oh, how could we forget? Guys, me and Anna were the queen of iMovie, honestly, or just like
Yes.
us and Killian and Kirk.
Yeah.
Because we definitely worked on, I mean, everybody made movies,
A
I feel like, on iMovie. A
franchise.
franchise. There's a franchise coming soon to a theater near you. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
But yeah, like, I feel like that. What's kind of funny is I feel like we were the ones that were a little bit like, not like more into it, but I think that our
More
artistic
serious
sides
about
were kind
it.
of like, yes. That being said,
Because I was
Kalina,
like a mean director. Like, I don't even want to know like what I'd be like as a director in real life because I would like physically abuse people on set.
our inside joke was always, Anna was like, guys, we need to film.
Yeah, and then I like there was a video that an outtake called slapping on set where I like slapped my brother because he wasn't
Oh my
like
gosh. I
cooperating, slapping on set.
I forgot about that.
But like it makes sense because I feel like Kirk and Carolina were always a bit more like, especially Carolina was just like doing literally whatever, and me and you were like, okay, creatively, how is this gonna work?
How does
Like,
this make sense? And Killian was just like coming up with songs on the spot. They were very iconic, but no rhyme scheme. We're in many different keys.
yeah,
But that's the beauty of it. So
yeah,
go stream Night of the Dead whenever it comes out. I'm just kidding.
yeah. And then my favorite graphic design backstory for me is Kit Collage.
I knew you were gonna say it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I think we all had this app at one point. Like,
Oh, for sure I did. Because of you.
so yeah, I don't really remember when it started, but I think it was because my friend Bridget. It always starts with
It
Bridget. Like
always, guys, it
Bridget's,
always starts with Bridget.
yeah. Also, I follow her on Fable, which is like the book rating app, not writing. Um, and she posted a picture of her like reading a book, and I saw her apartment, and I was like so jealous.
Oh, it's already perfect, as
It has
everything
like
Bridget
floor to
does.
ceiling windows. Yeah.
Oh, we love, we love
Yeah. Anyways, my apartment's great too. But anyways,
her.
so she had gotten this app and it was called Pit Collage, and it's basically where you just like put together pictures and images and post them, and it's you can a lot of people use it for just like I feel like I've actually talked about this on the podcast before now that I'm thinking about it. Or no, I did a YouTube video about my Pit Collage origin story.
Oh, we definitely talked about it on the podcast too. There's like a snippet, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah. But anyways, I would make graphics of random things and post them, and they started out really bad, and they would mostly be like Disney themed, and they would be like Lion King quotes with like pictures, whatever. And then eventually it turned into like YouTuber edits, and it got to the point where like I was making like extremely complex edits of YouTubers, like photoshopping out the backdrop, doing this in a different app called Superimpose, then putting the text over in Fonto, and then
Fonto, I still have that up.
yes, and then bringing it into Pit Collage and posting it. So like they weren't even constructed in Pit Collage at this point. And I was like manually erasing the background. I would go into like YouTubers' YouTube videos and like take a bunch of screenshots, and then I would manually erase the background with my finger
Oh,
and then like put them together. And I ended up being like one of the like it girls on Pit Collage, and I had like
her.
14K followers and like my edits were like one of the best. And
Literally pick collage queen.
yeah, and I didn't think much of it at the time, but then as soon as I like got more into graphic design, it's like, wait, this is what I've been doing all along. Like this makes so much sense. Like that's why I was so addicted to it. And my mom recently she was like, well, I mean, it was good that she like limited my screen time, but because like I didn't want to be anyways, she would limit my screen time to the point where like I wouldn't be able to finish an edit sometimes and it'd be like really upsetting. But recently she was like, dang, I should have just let you like keep doing that because like I didn't realize like what you were making and like
You could have bought pick collage. They could have like
yeah, like I think now she's like, oh, so that's what you were doing. You were doing like graphic design.
me when I become
We
like
just
an
didn't know what it
architect
was
and like
yet.
that's what you guys were doing on Minecraft.
Yeah, literally. Oh my gosh, I love
Except I
Minecraft.
was always bad at Minecraft, but I think my final epiphany slash takeaway for this episode is that you are your passions, but you're not your job. Guys, Anna's SD card ran out, so you can hear her, but
Can't
we
see
don't need to
me.
delete a bunch of footage just for our outro. So
Just to
it's
see my
just us,
face.
guys. Anyways, thanks for listening to this episode of Telepathy. If you enjoyed, rate our
Wait, did you have
podcast.
a final epiphany moment
I did. Did
that
you
you
not
wanted to
hear it?
say? No, I was just freaking
Oh,
out about my
oh,
like,
okay.
oh, okay.
Guys, my final epiphany slash key takeaway was that you are your passions, but you're not your job.
Okay.
You know what I
That's
mean?
good.
Okay, that's my, put that on a car sticker. I don't know why. Anyways, okay, thanks for listening to this episode. Follow us at the Telepathy Pod on Instagram or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Of course, the video episode's available exclusively on Spotify and YouTube, but you can still
Yeah.
listen to us on all the other platforms. So we'll see you next Tuesday for a brand new
New
episode
episode.
96.
Yes.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys. 96. Na 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 na.